Next on Worcester News Tonight, a group of city councilors is asking for more safety measures along a dangerous stretch of Grafton Street. Plus, a man is facing multiple charges in connection to a body found in Worcester. Prosecutors say the suspect was in the victim's apartment before his death. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. A Worcester mother is asking the city to take more safety precautions on Grafton Street after her daughter was struck and killed by a car last year. She says the road in front of Roosevelt Elementary School was a hazard before the tragedy and notices it even more now. Our Cam Jandro is live in Worcester tonight with the details. Cam?
Anna, it was back in June when Allison Lowell's daughter was in the crosswalk just feet away from an elementary school. She was hit by a car and unfortunately she passed away. Lowell is now asking the city to take more public safety guidelines and use them here on Grafton Street. She says we're in a school zone and the cars are going way too fast or they're simply not paying attention. 5 Worcester City Councilors are looking to make the road in front of Roosevelt Elementary School safer.
The bottom line is that there are thousands of trips there on a weekly basis, hundreds and hundreds of school children and their parents.
A memorial is still on Grafton Street, nearly a year after 20-year-old Gabriella Lowell was hit and killed by a car outside of the school. The driver involved was texting.
He made a choice to pick up his phone and text and drive and not pay attention and to speed, and my daughter's death was 100% avoidable.
Gabriella's mother, Allison, took her concerns to City Council Tuesday, saying the area needs a flashing crosswalk sign or something to keep pedestrians safe.
Nobody lets anybody cross where that crosswalk is. I've noticed it 1,000 times more since she's passed because I go to the site a lot.
Grafton Street is in City Councilor George Russell's district. He says a problem is the Mass Pike on and off ramp being so close.
And they're in that mode where they're speeding, and some folks that might be distracted. That was the situation that caused the fatality there.
Nobody stops there and somebody else is going to get killed at that crosswalk, 100%.
Now, Lowell says she is an advocate of the recent hands-free bill. She also says she would like to see motor vehicle homicide become a felony. We're live in Worcester tonight. I'm Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
A Rhode Island man is facing multiple charges after he allegedly attacked and injured a Worcester police officer. According to police, 22-year-old Jesse Wood was pulled over on Mercantile Street for driving erratically. Police say he appeared to be under the influence of narcotics. The officer attempted to pull him over. Police say Wood started to violently attack the officers. One officer suffered a minor injury to his ankle. Wood's charges include OUI drugs and assault and battery on a police officer. Worcester police are looking for a driver who hit a man and then took off. The hit and run happened Sunday night on Orient Street and Plantation Street just before 10:30 p.m. Police say a 53-year-old was seriously hurt but is expected to survive. He was hit trying to cross the street while out for a run. One woman who lives nearby says she heard the impact and then saw a black vehicle speed away.
Bleeding from his head and from his arm. His shoes got flung up. He was like 20 feet, I guess. No, it was awful. I mean, the car sped up. My daughter almost got hit herself. The car took off, and it was definitely a black car.
Police are asking for anyone with information to call the Worcester Police Department. A Shrewsbury man is in court today facing charges in connection to a body found in the city. Prosecutors say the victim's body was found last week and an arrest was made 2 days later. The suspect's lawyer says he's not guilty, but prosecutors think differently. Our Brittany Schaefer has that story.
The family of John Reardon gets a good look at the man police charged in connection to the death of their loved one. Tony Sacco pled not guilty to multiple charges, including aggravated assault and battery with a dangerous weapon.
It was determined that Mr. Reardon had a fractured nose, 4 fractured ribs, and a fractured neck.
Prosecutors say Sacco and the victim were out drinking last Wednesday. When they returned to Reardon's home on Lake Avenue, prosecutors say Sacco found items he thought Reardon had stolen from him. According to court documents, the 38-year-old first lied to police about what happened, but later said he attacked Reardon.
You have a defendant who can't handle his alcohol. He becomes violent. He admitted to, after having pulled Mr. Reardon off the bed, to kicking him in the side of the head and kicking him in the ribs. which certainly lines up more with the injuries suffered than simply being pulled off the bed.
Prosecutors asked for $50,000 cash bail. Defense attorney Blake Rubin says his client was the one who called police, and it doesn't fit the characteristics of someone who's guilty.
My client, Mr. Sacco, was certainly hoping to be released on personal recognizance because he has no funds available to make bail at this point. And at this point, it's unclear what the cause of death is. But at this point, from my reading of the reports, there's no direct connection of my client to the very unfortunate death of the victim in this case.
Sacco is being held on $50,000 cash bail. He is due back in court on June 25th. In Worcester, Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
The city announces the completion of their first cultural plan, Becoming Worcester, the Evolution of a Creative City. The plan is designed to recognize the power of culture and make communities better. It lays out 90 strategies over the next decade, which include engaging people who work in Worcester with the downtown area, as well as an in-artist residency program to incorporate creative design for city projects.
So when I say to people, why do we have a cultural plan and where are we going with it and why is it important? Great cities deserve great art. If you look throughout history, that is what we resonate and go towards.
The plan is a collaboration with the Greater Worcester Community Foundation and Worcester Cultural Coalition. Some of the strategies could start as soon as 2020. The City Council discusses a developer's proposal to redevelop the Worcester Auditorium tonight. Under the agreement, the Architectural Heritage Foundation will buy the auditorium for $450,000. The project is expected to cost more than $90 million. City Manager Edward Augustus says the venue will host an esports center, IMAX theater, and dining options, all while preserving the history of the building. Councilors Candy Merrill Carlson says it's amazing they found someone to take over after the odds sat vacant for almost 20 years.
It's a historic building, and for the first time in a very long time, we have some exciting things that are looking to go in there. So I'm thrilled that finally we are in a position that we're actually going to transfer the auditorium to somebody.
Augustus's he requested the item to be referred to the Standing Committee on Economic Development for a joint meeting with the auditorium's Board of Trustees. Congressman Jim McGovern spoke to a group of high school students today who are interested in attending a U.S. Service Academy. Representatives from colleges including West Point and the U.S. Naval Academy were there talking to students. When applying to one of these academies, it's a requirement to receive a letter of recommendation from a congressman. McGovern says it's an honor to nominate young men and women.
I've been so proud of the men and women who have come from my district that we've been able to nominate over the years, and I've watched their careers in the military and even outside the military, and it's just been really inspirational and really wonderful to see how they've grown and how they've become successful in the fields that they're interested in.
Tonight, McGovern recognized 3 young men he nominated last year who will be attending the Naval Academy in the fall. The Supreme Court ruled today a provision of an Indiana law should remain blocked. The law says the state may prohibit abortions motivated solely by race, sex, or disability. The law was signed 3 years ago by then Indiana Governor Mike Pence. Massachusetts Senator Harriet Chandler says Mass must take a firm stand and continue to be a leader.
This seems to be a quick way to bring this issue of whether to support Roe v. Wade to the Supreme Court. We don't see that happening. We want to make sure that Roe v. Wade is confirmed and supported. It's very important to the women who live in this state.
The Indiana law was blocked from going into effect by the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. The court, however, did say they would allow part of the law, allowing clinics to bury or cremate fetal remains, to take effect. A historic building on Main Street in Worcester is set to undergo renovations. Worcester's Historical Commission approved the removal of its modern aluminum facade as part of a planned historic renovation. The Olympic Trophy building was built in 1926 and is known for the trophy and sports goods business located there for several decades. Right now, the building has 2 retail businesses on the first floor, Garden Fresh Courthouse Cafe and a constable service.